Hello friends, it's Sam Cheney reporting for Weaponized News. Today, October 6, 2025. Thank you for joining us. Got out of sorts there for a second with the messing up my intro video. I don't know what the heck happened to it. My intro video got removed off of here somehow. Anyhow, welcome to Weaponized News on this Monday edition, day 6 of the government shutdown. And it's like libertarian anarchist utopia for me, but apparently 65% of the Americans are against the government shutdown. I don't know what that's all about, but according to the White House, 65% of Americans love tyranny. So quite horrific if we can trust the White House, which we can't. Okay, what else do we got today? Trump's invasion of Chicago, Illinois. Pushback. It's being sued now. Got all that to go over. Sued now by Illinois and California for I don't even know. They got just never-ending lawsuits, all at taxpayers' expense, by the way. So we do appreciate that. And then what else do we got? Quite a bit today. We got some economic news. Trump signed a couple deals to open up mining. To open up mining in Alaska. We'll go over that a little bit. And then, yeah, it's martial law. It's for your own safety, though. It's for a crime emergency here. Rolling out the National Guard. We'll cover all of that. How's ICE doing? Seems they're doing great on propaganda, not so great on outcomes for their mass deportations. But they sure do pump out the propaganda, let me tell you. Chicago police ordered to stand down. And so when are we going to get some accountability for who's giving these orders is my question. We're still waiting. And so we got to mash up all the developments over the weekend. ICE, the National Guard deployments, they're in Chicago and other places around the country. I guess Nashville, I didn't see any reports from Nashville. I guess they love martial law in Nashville. And again, why does no local, quote, authority ever held accountable for the complete and utter failure to the point where you have to send in the National Guard? We're still waiting. We got some more Epstein news today for you, but it's a Democrat hoax, so we're just supposed to forget it. The FBI and DOJ already have. We're not going to here at Weaponized News. And then what else do we got? We got some public health news for you on the miracle front coming out of the CDC. Then we got geopolitical news. Looks like, we've bombed, that is America here now, and has bombed Somalia for the 81st time this year. Nobody notices, nobody cares. Give Trump a Nobel Peace Prize for his efforts there. And then kind of flying under the radar here, old Ursula von der Leyen has declared the use of the digital euro is required for jobs in the EU. Kind of a big deal. Nobody cares. So our slavery will be enjoyable as we await the implementation of digital currency here in America. And then a lot of the Aardvark land genocide fallout continuing. Allegedly, there's a ceasefire meeting going on between Hamas and Aardvarks there in Egypt. I just don't see them stopping, no matter what. We got a bunch of clips from Bibi lying up one side and down the other. We wouldn't have it any other way from our shadow president here in America. We got fallout continuing, a clip from Greta Thunberg. She's now been deported from Aardvark land. along with 171 activists that were part of this global Samud flotilla. We have that fallout. Yeah, and a bunch of, we got this poll, very large, well, not very large. We'll go over this poll. And you know I don't like polls that much, but we'll go over it. All that much more as we celebrate day 6 of the government shutdown here at Weaponized News. Let's get to this day in our history. On this day of October 6th, going all the way back to the year 1866, we saw the first train robbery in the United States. The Reno brothers take $13,000. Kind of a lot then, but you would expect for a daring crime like a train robbery, you would get more than $13,000. The first recorded train robbery by the Reno brothers in 1866 on this day. On this day in 1876, the American Library Association organizes in Philadelphia. And we know that reading is a conspiracy theory. And so part of perpetuating conspiracy theories in America, going back to 1876, the American Library Association organizing on this day. In 1893, on this date, Nabisco Foods invents cream of wheat. Not a big fan, honestly, over here. I'll eat it if that's all we got, you know what I'm saying? But cream of wheat, not really so much. In 1917, on this day, we saw the Battle of Pas Chedel. In 1917, Third Battle of Ypres, Canadian troops recapture the high ground in the village of Paschenel from the Germans in West Flanders, Belgium, during World War I. Over 200,000 casualties occur on each side, and 24,000 German prisoners are taken into custody. On this day in 1917, in 1922, the great powers of the First World War withdraw from Istanbul, Turkey. In 1943, the failures of the Nazis, Himmler wants to accelerate the, quote, final solution, complete and utter failures. The Nazis are there. In 1946, on this day, then U.S. President Harry Truman questions Great Britain's aardvarks about Palestine. Wouldn't you know? It was called Palestine. Nah, it never existed. That's what they say. We got a bunch of news about aardvark propaganda. It's just over the top, but we wouldn't expect anything less. Now, would we? Allegedly, well, they did it, but I still have my doubts. We're still under investigation here, but in 1951, on this day, Joseph Stalin announces that the Soviet Union has an atomic bomb. Really? That's what, to kick off the Cold War, essentially, here now. And do they have these atomic bombs? I don't know. I think the jury's still out. There's evidence that what they present to us is not actual factual about these nuclear bombs or atomic bombs that they have. That is world governments, the nuclear powers of the world. On this day in 1961, then President John F. Kennedy advises Americans to build fallout shelters, adding to fear-based, trauma-based mind control program over the fear of nuclear Armageddon, essentially. In 1966, LSD is first declared illegal in the state of California, and other states follow. Well, we thank the CIA for introducing it to America's youth. And in 1976, on this day, a bunch that I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce their name, a bunch of Chinese, actually 4 were arrested. The one I will attempt to pronounce here is Mao Zedong's widow, Jiang Qing, along with 3 others, known as the Gang of Four, are arrested and charged with plotting a coup in China, an event often considered the end of the Cultural Revolution in China. And then fast forward all the way to 2019, and think of the irony of this, right? In 2019, on this day, tens of thousands of Hong Kong protesters marched in defiance of a new ban on face masks. And we all know what would happen a few short months later here now. You would be arrested for not wearing a mask, essentially. The irony of what it is true. History doesn't repeat, but it does rhyme. And it is very ironic, to say the least. And in 2021, the tyrannical, maniac, insane health department out of Los Angeles votes in some of the strictest bat miracle mandates in the country, requiring miracles before people can enter indoor businesses and events. And now I think it's been where we fought 4 years later. I think it's very well established that that public health policy was a complete and utter failure. And again, no one gets in trouble. And whether they knew or not, they went ahead and did it. And we need accountability for the complete and utter failures and suffering and tyranny caused by the health department. And call me black-pilled. I don't think we'll ever get it here now. And it's truly disgusting. And these people are still in high positions of power, dictating our public health policies. And literally everything they do is a lie, propaganda, and a complete and utter failure. They don't care. They are Malthusian eugenicists. And so everybody needs to wake up to these facts. But the 65% of the American public love the government, apparently. So they're going to have a hard time as the tyranny is getting cranked up here now. And so they love it, apparently, blind to the fact of our natural rights here. As long as their clown world puppet is in the Oval Office, apparently. It's just the level that we're at here in this country is sad. It's very sad, honestly, to me at this point. I thought we had adults in this country, mature adults. We don't. The large majority act like, junior high children. And it's sad because the rest of us have to suffer their idiocy. Moving on here too, on this day in our civil liberties history, in 1917, we saw free speech in wartime defender Senator Robert M. Lafayette, a fervent opponent of American involvement in World War I. Senator Robert M. Lafayette, nicknamed Fighting Bob of Wisconsin, gave a strong speech in defense of free speech in wartime on the Senate floor on this day. As a result, some other senators considered having him impeached, a move that indicted the level of intolerance of dissidents during World War I. Wait till they declare another war. If Congress ever does, they don't even need to. They'll just ban you right now. You know what I mean? For being a dissident. But wait till they declare war and then forget about it. Forget about your rights to free speech or anything else for that matter. You do what the government says or you're enemy combatant and you will be terminated essentially. But hey, thank you for fighting for our freedom. That's just so idiotic, man. Oh, on this day in our civil liberties history in 2015, Justice Department to release 6,000 prisoners, beginning of the end of the war on crime. And that ties in right with today's stories. There's never been an end on the war on crime, and we're cranking it back up here. Trump is. with extrajudicial assassinations of fishing boats, alleged drug traffickers in the Caribbean and beyond. It's cranking up. The 81st airstrike in Somalia. How many Americans know that or even care? You know what I mean? Not many. I know not many. So we're in a perpetual state of war, perpetual state of war on crime, drugs, war on the radicals, on the terrorists that are created by Western intelligence. And so we're on a mini war front here in these never-ending wars as they lie to us and act like it's not even happening. It is indeed happening. So the Justice Department on this day in 2015 announced that it would begin releasing about 6,000 federal prisoners between October 30th and November 2nd, 2015. About 2/3 of the prisoners will be placed in community-based halfway houses or home confinement before being placed on supervised release. Another 1/3 are foreign nationals who will be deported. The release of so many federal prisoners, the largest single release in history, was one of a growing national trend to turn away from policy of mass incarceration. Well, Trump has revived that, thankfully, and we'll probably all wind up in a FEMA camp sooner than later at this rate. So we do appreciate MAGA, MAHA, Make America Great, spend your life in solitary confinement, because that's the only way with a man with a gun outside your door, and you still may not even be safe from them then, but that's the only way you can be guaranteed safety here now by this crime syndicate known as the government, masquerading as crime fighters when they're the ones running geopolitical crime networks. That's where we're at here. Let's not be naive children about the way the world works. And with that, we're going to go ahead and, let me just mention briefly here. Trump yesterday made an appearance at the Navy's 250th birthday celebration. And here's his famous dance that all the MAGAs love so much. There it is. Isn't it all funny and wonderful to own the left with memes? Trump says, through the spray of raging combat and the fog of naval war, America's sailors have proven time and again that our Navy does just the best job there is. We own the skies, we stalk the depths, and we rule the seas. And we do appreciate the attack on the USS Liberty by the aardvarks. What was it, 1967? If I'm getting the year correct there. And we do appreciate the false flag that started the old Vietnam War there. And so great acts by our Navy that are much appreciated. Thank you very much, Navy, for those efforts, amongst others, amongst many, many other perils at sea there. And then we take a look at the White House shutdown clock. They can't seem to sync it up for some reason. So we have our clock like on the TV show 24 right here, right? But then you go up here and our clocks are not synced. We're off by like 3 hours. Maybe it's Eastern and Pacific time. So we're 6 days in now to the government shutdown. And hopefully we can keep it shut down permanently. I have my doubts. But hey, it looks like today, upon my production of this show, it looks like the government's still out there trolling and pumping out plenty of propaganda on the interwebs. Don't you worry. The budget for that. Oh, and Trump has promised back pay, as I said they would do. And so don't you worry your little government dependent heart about it. You're going to be paid regardless. Here's propaganda from the White House. Democrats are only here to give free health care to criminally illegal aliens. I thought they were here to steal from us too, but according to the White House, it's the only reason they're there. Let's watch this propaganda video shaming the Democrats.
Alexander, I know we had an instant attraction, but I'm starting to think that we just don't have enough in common for you to be the one. And Ronnie, I feel like you're just here for the zip line.
What?
All you do all day is go on the zip line.
Well, that's what I believe. I just really want to be here. I love you.
Unfortunately, Ronnie,
You said this would happen.
our summer fling is over. You should pack your things and go.
Ruckus got me. Happy April. Happy April indeed. I don't know where I got April from, but anyway. Shout out to the chat over there on the Rumble, the YouTube, looking good. The X. I did see somebody chime in from Gaza, they say. Yeah, we got plenty of news about that today. Should we even play this? I'm not even going to play it, but they're still trolling. They reposted it. What the hell? We'll replay it. It is a funny meme here now. They reposted it at the White House. There's propaganda. We played it last week. So we're not a serious country. These are not serious people. And it's all political theater, literally laughing in your face. By the way, during the government shutdown, your taxes are still due.
Way to sugarcoat it. Nobody likes Democrats anymore. We have no voters left because of all of our woke trans bullshit. Not even black people want to vote for us anymore. Even Latinos hate us. So we need new voters. And if we give all these illegal aliens free health care, we might be able to get them on our side so they can vote for us. They can't even speak English, so they won't realize we're just a bunch of woke pieces of shit, you know, at least for a while until they learn English and they realize they hate us too.
Talk about, if this is true, what they say, which I don't believe it is, because nothing the government says is ever true, then the Democrats' Machiavelli scheme to give illegal aliens Rockefeller medicine is a backhanded depopulation attempt. You see how this works? But it's going right over the top of the majority's head out there about what all this even really means. Democrats have closed our government, cost Americans their jobs, hurt our troops, harmed the economy, and caused chaos, all to help illegal aliens who broke into our country. This is Levitt, the White House spokeslady, Blondie.
The Democrats' current position is that the only way the American government can reopen is if illegal aliens can get free health care. Don't take my word for it, just look at what's inside of the Democrats' proposal to reopen the government. Their funding proposal would result in nearly $200 billion spent on health care for illegal aliens and other non-citizens over the next decade. To put this in perspective, $200 billion is enough money to fund the entire children.
They don't care about you having good health care. I mean, yeah, Max says dignifying the individual and enshrine protections are right out. Indeed. Democrat shutdown. If Democrats do not vote to open the government tonight, federal workers will not receive their next full paycheck. You should take this opportunity, federal government workers, to resign and protest. I think that would really shake people up.
While President Trump continues to negotiate peace deals, meets with world leaders, and celebrates the 250th birthday of our United States Navy, as you saw he and the First Lady do just yesterday, Democrats, unfortunately, are continuing to play political games.
What is it? Gunther says that was a good one. Democrats or our beloved Soviets are more Soviet than Republicans are Soviet. The latter, just more LGBT, KGB. Oh man, isn't that where we're at? And in this, look, 65% of Americans disapprove of the Democrat shutdown, and this is right out of the White House. So if we're to believe this, 65% of Americans are the biggest bootlicking, government lovers the world's ever seen. We should be having giant celebrations, but yet 65% disapprove. So I'm surprised it's not higher than that, actually. Americans love their slavery in this country and refuse to see it. Plain and simple, Democrats' political games are already costing American taxpayers over $1 billion. Schumer's shutdown already cost taxpayers $1.2 billion in pay to employees not working. Like they care. Like they care. Still acting like you're judicious with the people's purse. And it's just all bullshit. Just like Doge was bullshit. $37.5 trillion national debt, that's official. And then all these unfunded liabilities, and then the missing money. They don't give a damn about your tax money, about how much debt we're in. It's all political theater. Continuing here. There you go. Trump vows to get service members every last penny during government shutdown. Everybody on the government dole is going to get back paid. Don't you worry. And then this clown, next in line, Mr. Technocracy, J.D. Vance. Some say he's a homosexual. Some say he's a robot. Some say he's a clone, drone. Some say he's a outer space furry lover. We just don't know with this character. But he's glad to be back on TikTok. I bet he is, with the aardvark algorithm running in his favor for Technocracy. That's it's literal clown world in our dystopic nightmare we find ourselves in here.
Hey guys, JD Vance here. Just want to let you know that we are relaunching the VP's TikTok page. I got a little lazy the last few months, was focused on the job of being VP, not enough on TikToks. That's about to change. So follow along. We'll update you on what's going on in the White House, business, of state. We'll update you on what's going on politically. Maybe some sombrero memes here and there, but follow along and we'll look forward to connecting on TikTok.
His focus on his job as VP and not on TikTok. But don't you worry, he's going back to focus on TikTok. And then the White House proudly posted this on X. Here's their TikTok. With your aardvark algorithms pushing total propaganda and lies down your throat here. Trump does damn good on this video. 104 million views. That's a lot of freaking views. So we even let's watch this video.
Republicans, we're doing really well. Stay online, don't get offline, and vote. Make sure you get through and vote. We're gonna have a big victory tonight.
So there it is, Trump propping up the bullshit system. He's a total hack, puppet of the government. Beginning November 1st, in a month, 3 weeks probably now, right? Beginning November 1st, all medium and heavy duty trucks coming into the United States from other countries will be tariffed at a rate of 25%. Onto the economic section of the show. So yeah, it's all good for you. There's no inflation. The prices are not increasing. You're hallucinating. You're a Democrat. You're a pro-crime commie if you say anything different, according to these lying criminals. So expect next month to pay more on your imports here. Oh, but the companies just eat it. It's a tax on the company. They would never pass it on to the consumer. They just they act like everybody's retarded. I guess the large majority of Americans are. And so I would talk to them the same way, I guess, if I was in this position of power as these puppets of the crime syndicate. In other economic news, I was looking at the old metals chart. Gold all-time record high today. The what else do we got? Gold all-time record high. At Bitcoin all-time record high. Right now, Bitcoin $124,768. Gold closed at near $4,000 an ounce, $3,975, and silver at $48.52. So, I'm sure that has nothing. That has everything to do with a strong dollar, of course. U.S. Treasury Department is sanctioning. Oh no, one more from Trump about the tariffs. This is the Labor Secretary says that America First agenda is creating a golden age of economic prosperity for our nation. Really? Republicans have fought to keep the government open so we can continue delivering on President Trump's mandate to make our nation an economic powerhouse. Good news for the holiday season. Early prices are down while tariffs are making our country an economic power again. Also, virtually no inflation as stock markets continually hit record highs. The best of all worlds for the U.S. Really? We're still trying to figure out how to afford top ramen over here. But that's what the economic lies coming out of the White House are. Treasury Department is sanctioning an illicit fentanyl supply network that supports the Sinaloa cartel. Under President Trump's leadership, Treasury will continue to aggressively target and dismantle the financial networks that enable terrorist organizations to poison Americans with deadly drugs. And no mention of shutting down the CIA, though. On to the, we had this signing today. Trump approves Ambler Road project to unlock America's mineral potential. Big milestone today in reversing this Biden-era decision about the Ambler Road, a move that will unlock all of the minerals that we need to win the AI arms race against China. So we're in an AI arms race against China now. And who's going to suffer? We, the people, are. Unleashing Alaska's extraordinary resource potential. Today, Trump approved the appeal of the Alaska Industrial Development and Export Authority, directing his administration to promptly issue authorizations necessary for the establishment of the Ambler Road project. This project will provide road transportation access to the Ambler mining district. The Ambler Road project is a proposed 211-mile industrial road from the Dalton Highway to Alaska's remote Ambler mining district that would enable access to large deposits of copper, cobalt, gallium, germanium, and more. The permits for the road have been held for years due to protracted litigation, and the president has finally allowed this project to go forward to support the administration's energy dominance agenda. The decision finds that the road is in the public interest given our need for access to domestic critical minerals, and there is no economically feasible and prudent alternative route. The decision directs the Bureau of Land Management, BLM, different BLM than the one that we all know and love, National Park Service, and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to reissue necessary permits to construct the road. In addition, the U.S. government is announcing a partnership with Trilogy Metals investing $335.6 million to support mining exploration in Alaska's Ambler mining district. This investment makes the United States government a 10% stakeholder in Trilogy Metals. More of this socialism here now brought about by Trump, with the government taking a stake in private companies. We do appreciate it. MAGA loves it. And yeah, so don't talk bad about state-owned enterprises here, or at least being shareholders in them, because that would be un-American and panicking. Even though you point out this is a pure socialistic policy, who cares? MAGA, America, all that bullshit. So there you have it. That was our economic section. If we mine Capitol Hill, we could compose the earth, compost the earth. There you go, silver. Silver tail. I don't know if you're into silver bullion, but the price is looking mighty nice right now. Let me tell you. Sorry about that. And all I know is my Bitcoin will provide enough dough to drink my. Oh, come on. Oh, man. Yeah, Bitcoin is looking very strong as well there. Max says a sustainable and synergistic nation that leads what would take appreciation for the inheritors and future. Let's not have that. Okay, where are we at now? Oh, crime. It's not martial law when our guy does it, let me tell you. It's an emergency on crime. It's called crime, a 5-letter word, CRIME, for you idiot Americans that don't support the government shutdown. Here's a clip from Trump explaining it to his moron followers.
We have a new thing now. When you look at it's called crime. It's called absolute, as Biden would say. Well, I won't say what he would have said. Remember when he said it's a 3-letter word? No. Remember that one? And we're saying, what was that all about? He probably meant exclamation point or something after the word. But this is a 5-letter word, crime, CRIME, and we want to put it out and are putting it out, and they don't. They don't seem to care about it, but they do care. I believe that Pritzker and this mayor of Chicago, Biden would say, well, I won't say what.
They don't seem to care, but they do care. Talk about doublespeak. Damn, dude.
Yeah, they don't seem to care about it, but they do care. I believe that Pritzker.
What the hell?
And this mayor of Chicago that like to say about they don't have it under control. Not only is it not under control, it's the opposite. And I believe they're afraid, they're scared for their lives. I believe that the Portland people are scared. You look at what's happened with Portland over the years, it's a burning hellhole. And then you have a judge that lost her way that tries to pretend that
Is Portland really a burning hellhole? I know they do have a problem with Antifa and other, mostly I think their problems with the junkies strung out on freaking opiates is the real problem, like all of America. But is it really a burning hellhole?
There's no problem. Actually, she's not even saying that. There's a huge problem in Portland. I'll tell you what the problem is. Crime. Okay, crime. There's a huge problem in Chicago. It's
CRIME, crime?
Called crime. And we want to put out the crime, and they want to inflame the crime. And why they want to, I don't know. But it could be that Pritzker is scared for his life.
Is Pritzker scared for his life? I don't think so. And here's propaganda. See, they said last week that they wouldn't be able to post, but they're posting. So something tells me they're being promised back pay or something, because they got the propaganda cranking on this Monday, October 6th, out of the federal government. Your unconstitutional Department of Homeland Security recapture our national identity. Let's watch this propaganda about this week. We arrested hundreds of criminal illegal aliens, terrorists, and terrorist sympathizers across our country in Portland, in Chicago. Now we need your help. Block communists, terrorists, and globalists from ever entering our country.
This is Micah Bach, Deputy Assistant Secretary at DHS. For decades, our government failed its people. Our borders were open to illegal criminals who flooded our communities and decimated our way of life. Under the leadership of President Trump and Secretary Noem, we've reclaimed our border, secured our nation, and have begun to deport these foreign invaders. Equally important as the task of securing our borders is the task of defending our culture and what it means to be an American. This week, DHS is raising the flag and calling on Americans across the nation to join us in the fight to reclaim our identity as a people. U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services has launched a historic recruitment effort, calling on Americans to join the fight, to vet every person crossing our borders and close the door on immigration fraud and abuse. We know what it means to be an American. Everyone knows what an American is. And how we are seeking to empower each of you is to make the decisions that will determine what our country looks like for decades to come. You'll block communists, terrorists, and globalists who dilute our culture and import their failed ideologies. You'll work with ICE to arrest and deport those who lie, cheat, or spit on our Constitution. Your vigilance will stop foreign influence from poisoning our elections, our schools, and our churches. We will root out those who reject our heritage and our constitutional freedoms, as well as our way of life. America belongs to Americans. Our country is the birthright of our citizens, and those who seek to reap the rewards of entrance into our nation must, without exception, love this country, cherish its values, and assimilate into its culture. This is the most tangible way you can shape the future of our nation. Go to uscis.gov/join today. This week, in sanctuary cities like Chicago and Portland, ICE, CBP, and federal law enforcement face mobs of the radical left, rioters and terrorists hell-bent on tearing down our nation. In Chicago, these rioters and terrorists are roaming the streets carrying guns and improvised explosives. We are arresting these vicious criminals. We are fighting back, and we will win. In Portland, Antifa terrorists have waged an almost year-long siege on ICE centers. They've hurled rocks, Molotov cocktails, and crude IEDs, injuring our officers. Make no mistake, these rioters represent an existential threat to the safety of every American. They care more for the violent, criminal, illegal aliens they seek to protect than the Americans who've been victimized by these criminals. Their loyalty is no longer to the rule of law and American justice. They have embraced chaos, violence, anarchy, and terrorism. In the face of such violent hatred, our officers have refused to back down, and our resolve has only strengthened to free our nation from those who seek to destroy our way of life. We'll see you next week.
So the DHS is still cranking out propaganda there, as you can see. Here's some more from them. Quoting Teddy Roosevelt now. The United States has the same right to protect itself from death by nullification, secession, or rebellion that a man has to protect himself from death by assassination. Teddy Roosevelt. More propaganda from the Department of Homeland Security. I don't know why they're, is that a violin? I don't know why they're playing the violin. to this. Fiddle as America burns. And look, your professional law enforcement. I mean, this is embarrassing, honestly. F around and find out. That's posted by your Department of Homeland Security. Like, seriously? We will not allow violent activists to lay hands on our officers. And they're cranking out this is a pretty cheap meme here, I would say. Oh, yeah, but there's more. Listen to this one. Department of Homeland Security now boarding ICE Air.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. Welcome aboard ICE Air. We hope you enjoy your flight home. Next time, come to America legally or don't come at all. Thank you.
Is that really what they're playing? Maybe. Maybe they are. Let's hear from, well, here's old Stephen Miller on CNN. Let's watch this. Then we have a follow-up clip from Pritzker.
Is it the case that, as Pritzker frames it, you are profiling brown people? That this immigration crackdown is designed to go after people of color?
It's such a, oh, what a dumb question. The illegal aliens who are here are taking jobs away from blacks, they're taking jobs away from whites, they're taking jobs away from Latinos, they're taking their health benefits away, they're taking their school slots away, and of course in many cases they're committing heinous crimes. We cannot have a system of law in this country that privileges illegal aliens over American citizens, and that's what they're doing. You know it, and I know it.
So that's not exactly a no, Stephen. Can you just unequivocally state that the immigration
I said it's a dumb question. Okay.
Well, I appreciate that, but
it's a dumb question.
So no, this policy is not designed. I thought
when I said it was a dumb question, it meant no.
Well, I just.
So dumb. Okay. Here's Pritzker, governor of Illinois.
There's been zero accountability or transparency from ICE or the administration. Last week, federal agents dressed in camouflage gear conducted a military-style raid on an apartment building in South Shore, a neighborhood of Chicago. They brought Black Hawk military helicopters and more than 100 agents in full tactical gear. Even though it was supposedly a very dangerous and important mission, they brought dozens of cameras and set them up so that they could film their attack on the building in HD for social media. See for yourself.
Yeah, they're good at propaganda, but not so good at mass deportations, as we're seeing here. As I talked about earlier, Chicago police ordered to stand down as federal agents cornered by protesters. Multiple law enforcement sources confirm Chicago police were instructed not to respond to Border Patrol agents calling for backup after being surrounded by a large crowd in Chicago.
Okay, so for our entity units responding to 39th Police in Kedzie per 999, if you guys can just, for the units responding to 39th Police in Kedzie, if you guys can start heading there as quick as you can, and then just hold tight for instructions with 999.
999.
999.
So the Chief of Patrol, clear everybody up. We're not responding over there.
Radio check. And again, per the Chief of Patrol, we have all the units that, per 999, Chief of Patrol said all units clear out from there. We're not sending anybody over to that location.
62, we're going to clear out as soon as we can, squad. We're like blocked in over here, so we're going to do the best we can there.
Trump to send 400 Texas National Guard troops to Illinois as anti-ICE protesters continue to rage with no help from the local police, as we just Played the clip there. Illinois and Chicago sue Trump administration over deployment of National Guard. So they're really not wanted there, apparently. The state of Illinois and Chicago today sued the Trump administration over its move to deploy National Guard troops to Chicago as the White House targets Democrat-led cities amid weeks of protest against the federal government's deportation campaign. The lawsuit opens a new front in legal battles the White House is waging against state and local officials, coming just hours after a federal judge blocked a similar deployment of National Guard to Portland, Oregon, and California suing as well there amongst umpteenth lawsuits. I lost track of how many at all taxpayers' expense, and they laugh in our face. Trump open to invoking the Insurrection Act. Well, what's taking you so long? Politico reports here now. The comments came a day after federal judge blocked National Guard to Oregon, to Portland, as we just reported. Oregon, which Trump claims has been taken over by left-wing domestic terrorists. Trump told reporters today he did not yet see the need to use the Insurrection Act, but if I had to enact it, I'd do it if people were being killed and courts were holding us up, or governors or mayors were holding us up. Sure, buddy. And then what do we got? Okay, top 10 of all the goings on here recently about the martial law, the troops on the streets, the police state, resource diversion in federal agencies. Trump's deportation goal of 3,000 migrants daily has redirected agents from HSI, from the Border Patrol, FBI, and other agencies away from drug, sex crime, and organized crime investigations, leading to disbanded teams, unstaffed checkpoints, and declining prosecutions. And they're not anywhere near their 3,000 deportations a day goal as well. And we need way more than that even. Impact on morale and operations. Agents report low morale, resignations. Well, all of you should resign, actually, and that will help with your conscience. 6 top Homeland Security agents in Houston, frayed informant networks, and postponed complex cases like child exploitation probes due to immigration focus. Chicago Teachers Union plans resistance. The Chicago's teacher union members are using rapid response networks, school lockdowns, municipal aid escorts, and community alerts to obstruct ICE, drawing from Black Panther tactics and codified sanctuary protections in their contracts since 2019. Collaborations against ICE. The Chicago Teachers Union partners with CPS, principals, local officials, and organizations to deny ICE entry without warrants, educate on rights, and provide leave for employees with immigrant issues, forcing ICE tactical changes. Anti-ICE protests in Chicago, violent demonstrations, including vehicle attacks and attacks on agents. Shootings have raged since September amid Operation Midway Blitz, targeting criminal illegal aliens in sanctuary areas. Trump's consideration of the Insurrection Act. Trump is open to invoking the 1807 Act to deploy military or federalized National Guard in courts if courts, governors, and mayors obstruct efforts following a judge's blocking of his National Guard rollout to Portland, as we just reported. National Guard deployment Trump sent 400 National Guard to Illinois and others to Oregon, defying local leaders to protect federal assets amid protests. Similar moves occurred in California despite court orders. Illinois' lawsuit against deployment. Illinois and Chicago have sued the Trump administration over unlawful and seeks to halt the unconstitutional deployment of the National Guard. Accusations of overreach. Governor of Illinois, Pritzker, has dubbed it Trump's invasion, accusing the president of using troops as political props without coordination, while the Department of Homeland Security described Chicago as a, quote, war zone, blocking federal operations. Broader political implications. These events highlight tensions over sanctuary policies, federal state authorities, and the balance between immigration enforcement and other crime priorities, with critics warning of militarized response to domestic unrest. There you have it. What else do we got? Any more on that? Yeah, we still have some more here. More from Homeland Security. They say Pritzker is putting politics ahead of public safety. Here's some more memes, recruiting posters from ICE. Join ice.gov. There you go. And you too can wave these foreign flags. They're not sending their best. Join ice.gov here. That's the Department of Homeland Security posting these memes. Very professional from them. We already saw this one, I believe. And then Portland here, ICE says, Portland refused to walk, we'll give you a ride. One of these protesters. They see me rolling. Yep, we can't have any of that music. So, yeah, they'll wheel you out of there hog-tied, essentially. It looks like just handcuffed, but or zip-tied. That's pretty embarrassing, actually. And then what else do we got in this section? A couple more. This sign spotted amidst the protests there at ICE de facto FEMA camps. God bless ICE until you wind up in the FEMA camp. The Lord is my strength and my shield. My heart trusts in him and he helps me. Psalms 28:7. Quoting scripture there by the Department of Homeland Security. What a freaking joke. What a joke. But yet they do it. CNN is reporting on an exclusive classified Justice Department opinion authorizing strikes on secret list of cartels, sources say. And so we have this ongoing attack on alleged drug trafficking vessels in the Caribbean Sea off the coast of Venezuela. The Trump administration has produced a classified legal opinion that justifies lethal strikes against a secret and expansive list of cartels and suspected drug traffickers, according to multiple people familiar with the matter. Down here quoting them, they say, this is a former Pentagon lawyer, says, by this logic, any small, medium, or big group that is trafficking drugs into the U.S., the administration could claim it amounts to an attack against the United States and respond with lethal force. So there you go. They could say you're attacking the United States or I am and respond with lethal force. And I wouldn't doubt them doing that in the very near future here now as technocracy is turned up to 11. CIA deputy director has replaced agency's top legal official with himself. Report out of the failing New York Times here. This guy, Michael Ellis, the deputy, what is this guy? He's deputy director of the CIA, has abruptly demoted a career lawyer who had been serving as the agency's acting general counsel since January and installed himself in the role. Well, I'm sure everything is constitutional and legal there. and their own lawyers have approved it, the same as acting deputy director. So we can trust the CIA if we can't trust any other federal agency, right? Right. Okay. 65% are against the Democrat government shutdown, so it should all make sense to them. Okay, let's take our live commercial break here now. Everybody go to, yeah, it does look like it could be of the aardvark persuasion. They're operating under CIA, and we wouldn't have it any other way. We want to make sure the money they're spent on clown influencers is well worth it. And with that, everybody go to weaponizednews.com, get yourself a holograph sticker, a white background sticker, and a clear background sticker there at weaponizednews.com. We appreciate all the subscribers, patrons to the store. I'm working on getting another store going here. I was working on it over the weekend for your merchandise, like, you know, hats, t-shirts. Some people have said they would like to see some of that, so I've been working on it, and it hasn't gone as smoothly as I would have liked, but I'm still working on it. And so hopefully we can bring you those products in the near future as we crank up our fourth quarter 2025 fundraising campaign to help pay the bills around here. Again, go to weaponizednews.com, get yourself some stickers. We have pet ID tags over there, or give us a donation in the description below. This video is Cash App, Buy Me a Coffee, and our Bitcoin wallet address, and PayPal donation button right on the front of weaponizednews.com. Thank you for your attention to this matter, as Trump would say. Continuing now, as we try to get through as much news as we can. Oh, Epstein, the Democrat hoax that the FBI and DOJ literally said never even happened. Apparently, according to this report out of the Daily Star, UK, Jeffrey Epstein's island received more than 2,000 previously unreported flights. Wow. A shock new probe has uncovered more than 2,000 flights that went unreported to Epstein Island, shedding new light on the scale of travel there. It was all just, you know, it literally never even happened. So apparently more fake news out of the UK Daily Star. A new data investigation has uncovered more than 2,000 previously unreported flights to Epstein's Island. They must all be hallucinating on the opiates that we're in the war on drugs against here now. The analysis found 2,348 additional connections to Epstein Island across 5,253 flights recorded between 1995 and 2007, adding up to at least 4,966 reported and unreported flights to the island. Researchers also identified over 1,000 previously unknown flight routes linking major financial hubs with private destinations. Oh, almost like Epstein was, you know, just one of many in this giant network of intelligence blackmail operations and child abuse that is enjoyed by the, quote, elites running this whole corrupt system. Who would have known? Who would have known that this Democrat hoax would have turned into such a giant affair of evil? And then, well, sadly, the Supreme Court rejects Epstein associate Ghislaine Maxwell's appeal of her criminal conviction. But don't you worry. Maxwell was convicted for her role in recruiting and grooming girls who were sexually abused by Jeffrey Epstein. It was just for him. And all those flights, yeah, they never even really happened, according to Trump, the FBI, and the DOJ. And so today, the Supreme Court rejected her appeal. I don't know why. It's all based on a hoax or conviction, right? According to the White House. And then here's Trump. Trump is mulling over. Trump won't rule out Ghislaine Maxwell pardon, but she was convicted of child sex trafficking. You think Trump cares? He's part of this whole network that he's told us is a hoax that literally never even happened.
It's turned Court today, Mr. President.
Say it.
The Supreme Court is back and
Yeah.
they rejected today an appeal by Ghislaine Maxwell to overturn her conviction. That means her only chance of getting out of prison is a pardon from you. Is that something you're...
Who are we talking about?
Ghislaine Maxwell.
You know, I haven't heard the name in so long. I can say this, that I'd have to take a look at it. I would have to take a look. Did they reject that?
She wanted to appeal her conviction.
And what happened?
They said that they were not going to hear her appeal.
I see. Well, I'll take a look at it. I will speak to the DOJ. I wouldn't consider it or not consider it. I don't know anything about it. So, but I will speak to the DOJ.
Why would she be a candidate for clemency, sir?
I don't know. I mean, I'd have to speak to the DOJ. I'll look at it. I have a lot of people who have asked me for pardons. I call him Puff Daddy has asked me for a pardon.
But she was convicted of child sex trafficking.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to take a look at it. I have to ask DOJ. I didn't know they rejected it. I didn't know she was even asking for it, frankly.
Sure, buddy. Oh, man, oh, man. Texas and Florida have become national models for using the police state to wage cultural war battles. Report out of Reason, the alleged libertarian outfit. From library books to abortion, gender, and even food, the culture war is now beating the police state. You don't say. You don't say. You don't say there. But we're so far beyond that now with the technocracy. Florida officials gut a rainbow crosswalk in South Beach amid statewide crackdown. The Florida Department of Transportation last night began removing a pride-themed crosswalk on Ocean Drive in Miami Beach. And wow, what a use of public resources. That'll teach these rainbow lovers. Here's a video of them tearing up said rainbow crosswalk.
It's a hard knock life for us.
Well, probably copyrighted on that song too. Sorry about that. Couldn't play the music there. And so there you see them removing that offensive rainbow crosswalk. What a use of public resources there. Home Wi-Fi will soon be able to monitor our heart rates without expensive gadgets. And so we may not even have to have the wearables that Bobby Kennedy Jr. was talking about like a month ago or whatever it was. Bofins have discovered they could keep track of our tickers without the need for smartwatches or any wearable device by using our home Wi-Fi to keep our heartbeats monitored. And so isn't this a wonderful development for our health? Of course, traditionally measuring heart rate requires some sort of wearable device, whether that be a smartwatch or hospital grade machinery. But new research shows how the signal from a house Wi-Fi device can be used to monitor heart rate with state-of-the-art accuracy without the need for a wearable. So they can just zap you with electromagnetic frequencies. It's quite wonderful. The proof of concept work shows that one day anyone could take advantage of a non-intrusive Wi-Fi based health monitoring technology in their home. That's what I want. Big brother constantly monitoring my heartbeat. I don't know how I'd be healthy without it. The American team proved their technique, which they have dubbed PulseFi, works with even low-cost Wi-Fi devices. Scientists from the University of California, Santa Cruz designed a system for accurately measuring heart rate that combines low-cost Wi-Fi devices with a machine learning algorithm. They explained that Wi-Fi devices push out radio frequency waves into physical space around them and toward a receiving device, typically a computer or phone. As the waves pass through objects in space, some of the wave is absorbed in those objects, causing mathematically detectable changes in the wave. PulseFi uses a Wi-Fi transmitter and receiver which runs pulse-wise signal processing and machine learning algorithm. And so the team trained the algorithm to distinguish even the faintest vibrations in signal caused by a human heartbeat by filtering out all other changes to the signal in the environment or caused by activity such as movement. The signal is very sensitive to the environment, so we have to select the right filters to remove all the unnecessary noise. The researchers ran experiments with 118 participants and found that after only 5 seconds of signal processing, they could measure heart rate with critical level accuracy. So isn't that so exciting for our public health? Jim O'Neill, head of the CDC, former hedge fund man of Peter Thiel here now, he tells us informed consent is back. CDC's 2022 blanket recommendation for perpetual bat miracle boosters detoured healthcare providers from talking about the risks and benefits of miracles for individual patient or parent. That changes now. Last week, I approved ACIP's new recommendations on bat miracles and MMR plus V. I commend the doctors and public health experts of ACIP for educating Americans about important miracle safety signals. And so isn't that all wonderful? Don't take what they want, 4 here at once, the MMR plus V. Take 100,000. You know what Paul Offit said? A newborn can take 100,000 miracles, and it's wonderful. And so we go by his recommendations here at Weaponized News, obviously due to censorship reasons. CDC today updated its adult and child immunization schedules to apply individual-based decision-making to bat miracles and recommended that toddlers receive protection from varicella chickenpox as a standalone miracle rather than in combination with measles, mumps, and rubella miracles. Individual-based decision-making means that the clinical decision to miracle yourself up and your children should be based on patient characteristics that, unlike age, are difficult to incorporate in recommendations, including risk factors for the underlying disease, as well as the characteristics of the miracle itself and the best available evidence of who may benefit from the miracle. Or you could simply read the ingredients, but they don't want to talk about that now, do they? For truly informed consent, your medical provider should actually force you and go over with you the drug insert, and they refuse to, and so you will continue down the path of great health from American public health. On to geopolitical news here now. The French Prime Minister there, Sébastien Lecornu, resigns after less than a month in office. Very sad there out of France. They can't seem to keep their government together. I wonder why. This morning, this is a post from Trump. And the rest of the time he's saying he hates this commie's guts. But today he says, this morning I had a very good telephone call with President Lula of Brazil. We discussed many things, but it was mostly focused on the economy and trade between our two countries. We will be having further discussions and we'll get together in the not too distant future, both in Brazil and the United States. I enjoyed the call. Our countries will do very well together. BRICS? I don't know. No? Okay. I guess this happened last week. I apologize for missing it, but Trump brought it to our attention today, so we'll report it. Japan has just elected its first female prime minister, a highly respected person of great wisdom and strength. This is tremendous news for the incredible people of Japan. Congratulations to all. It's that's wonderful for women's rights. And then Well, over there in Venezuela says extremist right-wing sectors were plotting a false flag attack using explosives at the U.S. Embassy in Caracas. Venezuela had warned Washington through 3 diplomatic channels and alerted a European embassy about the grave threat. The embassy has remained closed since 2019. Maduro says that the United States is calling for a regime change there in Venezuela, saying they are after our oil, gas, and gold, not to mention cocaine, Maduro. So, yeah, after their natural resources there. And then this crazy report out of the Sudan, allegedly chemical weapons are being used there. Let's watch this short report. RSF just used chemical weapons in Sudan, allegedly.
The Rapid Support Forces have just used chemical weapons in El Fasher, North Darfur. Between October 3rd and 5th, RSF suicide drones dropped toxic gas cylinders and plastic bottles over residential areas. Civilians suffered convulsions, hallucinations, and vomiting. Medical workers say the gases were internationally banned substances under the Chemical Weapons Convention. The attacks happened amid a 17-month siege, leaving 800,000 people trapped without food or medicine. The RSF is backed by the United Arab Emirates, which UN and Amnesty reports say continues to supply them with weapons and logistics. Photos of the gas canisters and residue are circulating online, though independent lab verification is still pending. This marks one of the first chemical drone attacks in modern warfare, and another grave war crime in Sudan's forgotten conflict.
Jeez, if that's true, that's crazy, man. Again, alleged. Okay, we're still sitting like this close to direct war with Russia. President Trump on Tomahawk missiles being sent to Ukraine. I would ask some questions. I'm not looking to see an escalation. Really? That's why we're sending them these weapons to strike inside Russia. Okay.
No, I would ask some questions. I want to see what's. I'm not looking to see escalation.
Yes, and tomorrow you're meeting with the Canadian.
That's why we're arming them with long-range missiles. We're not looking for escalation, you see. Peace through strength. Putin says supplying Ukraine with Tomahawk missiles could ruin U.S.-Russian relations. They also said, the Kremlin also said they would take a direct strike as an act of war by the suppliers of said long-range missiles. So there you have it. Czechoslovakian election winner pledges to end Ukraine military aid. Maybe Trump could take a hint there. He's a lot. They're a lot closer. They're billionaire politician. This character over there in Czechoslovakia. Isn't it funny how in our great Western democracies, the only people that can afford to run for office are millionaires and billionaires, but it's for the people, don't you know? Populist politician Andrei Babis is expected to return as prime minister following his party's win in parliamentary elections there in Czechoslovakia, Czech Republic. So he's not going to arm Ukraine. Did they even care? And then Medvedev, former Russian president here, says that European cities have been engulfed by an epidemic of these unidentified flying drones. Remember, we had that same phenomenon happen here on the east coast of America. And they told us it was Iran. They told us it was UFOs. They told us it was furries. Did we ever even know? I guess they said it was actually U.S. military. I don't know. I think that's what they officially said, as that captured the nation's attention for a few months, if you can remember. Now, the same phenomenon is appearing over European cities, and the Russians are being blamed. I think it's NATO and America pumping up fears of war. There's videos, I forget even what, a couple of European countries, they're prepping for full-on war there. The civilians are right now. Thank you very much for your fear-based mind control program, NATO. and Russia, all the main thing is for short-sighted Europeans to feel the danger of war, to tremble and shake like dumb animals driven to slaughter, to soil themselves with fear of their coming end. That's what Medvedev had to say. Sounds pretty right on to me, actually. But hey, what the hell? It's the dirty Russians terrorizing European cities with unidentified drones. F.U. Putin. And yeah, as mentioned, the 81st strike. U.S. launches its 81st airstrike in Somalia this year. AFRICOM said the bombing targeted ISIS affiliates in Somalia's northeastern Puntland region. And so we're taking out those radical jihadists that we created for the never-ending war on terror. Syria releases preliminary results from indirect parliamentary vote yesterday. About 6,000 members of regional electoral colleges voted for candidates from pre-approved lists, helping fill nearly 2/3 of the 210 Syria's parliamentary seat. Self-appointed president and former Al-Qaeda ISIS jihadist there, al-Shara, is set to select the remaining 1/3. And we wouldn't have it any other way than having a 1/3 Al-Qaeda parliament there in Syria. It's quite wonderful. And then this is very concerning news. Out of the EU, Ursula von der Leyen declares the use of digital euro is required for jobs in the EU. And we can't wait to have this digital slavery come to America.
We have held strategic dialogues with key industries: cars, chemicals, steel, pharmaceuticals, defense, agriculture. In each sector, the message is the same. To protect jobs, we need to make business in Europe easier. A digital euro, for example, will make it easier for companies and consumers alike. We have held strategic.
So there you go. For your convenience, you can be part of the Mark of the Beast system. And then, of course, wrapping it up with, and yeah, there is very bad fighting going on in Syria, killing the Christians, killing the hell out of anybody that's not Al-Qaeda, essentially, or backed by Western intelligence for now, until they get tired of this guy. And that's the trend, and it will continue to be the trend there. U.S. Commission on Civil Rights opens sweeping investigation into federal crackdown on anti-Septicism, requesting all Title IX communications on anti-Septic conduct or conduct based on shared ancestry between schools and federal agencies, according to a report out of Reuters. Well, Trump says that this was, 3 days ago? 3 days ago on October 3rd. I can't remember I think this is Friday, right? I can't remember if we reported at the time. I believe we did, but 3 days ago, Trump says aardvark land must immediately stop bombing Gaza. Well, apparently they didn't listen, because the bombing has subsequently continued. And aforementioned, there are alleged ceasefire talks going on right now in Egypt between the aardvarks and the Hamas. Probably just a Western intelligence convention, but yeah, they're still killing them. So you're like, well, they wouldn't be. Trump told them stop bombing. They're having ceasefire talks. They wouldn't still be bombing and killing people, would they? Yeah, they are. Gaza Health Ministry reports 21 dead and 2 recovered from underneath the rubble, and 96 injured in the last 24 hours in the Gaza genocide. Oh, man. They just won't stop. New FARA filings reveal that the Aardvarkland government is paying an American firm up to $4.1 million to brainwash Christians with a virtual reality October 7th experience and target them with geofencing propaganda ads at their church. Oh man, you got to be. I pray these people will have some discernment and open their eyes to what's really going on here with the Christian Zionist mind control program, essentially, is what is being funded by Aardvarkland, all to get you to support ethnic cleansing, genocide, and war crimes. Yeah, so you can put on your, talk about brainwashing. Custom built trailer by professional Hollywood set designers. Reversible exterior walls allow for interactive 6x29 experience by walking to the side of the trailer. Opposite side has side out or stage flooring to invite attendees to come into the trailer from the side. Mounted survival to tell VR experience. Interiorly with seating, mounted generator with wired outlets. Interiorly external display tents allow for crowds to visit without being too crammed. 10/7 sections, information sections with pro aardvark materials, scenes from the Nova Festival and other recognizable 10/7 sites. I wonder if they'll talk about the AI generated videos and the fake body cam videos. They'll probably leave that part out. Wrapped with images of Aardvarkland or the Western Wall. Call to action outside the exhibit using biblical messaging. Talk about evil. This is the definition of evil right here. You're seeing it. And killing people, of course, and indiscriminately killing Palestinians, but they're all Hamas. And so I guess it's perfectly fine to brainwash your easily duped Christians over here in America. It's the right thing to do. So, wow. Wow, oh wow, there. Report out of Information Liberation. Aardvarkland's foreign ministry has set aside $145 million or 545 million shekels in 2025 to boost pro-aardvark messaging, focus on AI systems, and U.S. social media to influence public opinion. Under Project 545, the government hired Clock Tower X. We talked about that, led by Trump's former campaign manager, Brad Parscale. Great. He really is behind Make America Great. You know, he's a genuine patriot, Brad Parscale. Sold out to aardvarks and promoting genocide for a $6 million contract to run U.S. digital campaigns, mainly targeting Gen Z on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. The plan reportedly aims to, quote, game algorithms. Isn't that against terms of services, all of these platforms? Shouldn't they have all their accounts immediately suspended? No, they'll have them promoted because they're part of the mind control program. The plan reportedly aims to game algorithms and influence AI models like ChatGPT and Gemini by flooding data sources with pro-aardvark narratives. Netanyahu called social media the most important weapon in shaping perception. Report out of Ynet. They're telling you it's a full-on propaganda brainwashing campaign. Yeah, well, more on that. Aardvarkland's coordinated campaign to propagandize conservatives in America. And who's this Gen X girl on X wrote this article? This is a timeline of a sophisticated, well-funded, deliberately opaque influence operation conducted by Aardvarkland and its allies within the U.S. to target conservatives. polling data shows Aardvark land has permanently lost the American left, and they are losing the American right, particularly young conservatives. Aardvark Land's campaign seeks to recast criticism of a foreign nation's policy as a form of bigotry, weaponize faith, and co-opt American institutions, all while systematically evading the laws designed to protect the American public from such foreign propaganda. Well, she needs to be sanctioned, obviously. And it just goes on to document it all. There it all is. But it's all, don't be a Hamas pro-crime commie. You know what I mean? And so they're coming at us with everything they got right now. So as reported the last couple of weeks, Larry Ellison, second richest man in the world, head of Oracle, along with his son, David Ellison, is now officially buying the Free Press and has already installed self-described Zionist fanatic Barry Weiss as editor-in-chief at CBS News. So there you go. On your television dial, CBS News, yeah. So they're going after your interwebs, your mainstream broadcast television. We've went down the list of all these different, but hey, to say the aardvarks control the media, are you an anti-Semitic bigot? Come on, man. That's just an interweb conspiracy. And here's now our shadow president, Bibi, with Mr. Clown himself there, Ben Shapiro, total traitor to America, but I don't think he cares because he's taken over for Charlie Kirk now. Go America. And they here's Bibi saying they hate us for no reason. I don't know. Is it the stack of bodies? That is it your undue influence here over America? Is it our never-ending funding? Is it your help in the never-ending war on terror? I don't know why. It's just bigoted, hateful people is what it is. There's no reason whatsoever, or the long history of aardvarks being expelled all throughout human history for their misdoings. I don't know. Your never-ending propaganda and lies, your worship of the Talmud. I don't know why. You know what I mean? It's just a bunch of bigots in this world.
It's a cyclical phenomenon of historical waves that come and go. And my father was a great student of history, a great historian. Actually told me that this is something that's going to come because he studied it for, he studied a few thousand years of this. So it keeps coming and going. Of course, people's sense of history in this current discourse goes back to breakfast, so they don't know. They should even look back at breakfast. You know when breakfast was? October 7th, right? That's 2 years ago, before we had this war? Okay. What happened on that day? You had massive crowds in the capitals of the West, including in the United States, in the cities of the United States, supporting Hamas, supporting these rapists, these murderers.
The cycling of the noticing, indeed, they're dual. Indeed.
These beheaders of men and burners of babies. And they were shouting for Hamas. Remember that? That was before Israel did anything.
Nobody was shouting for Hamas. Very few, actually. But okay.
We couldn't even get to the point where we defended ourselves. It took us a while.
So think of that. If that's true, then the West was for Western intelligence created terror groups. So they did a hell of a job. You know what I mean? And the never-ending war on terror continues to this day. So he's backhandedly praising himself, actually, if you think about it in the correct context.
So it's not related to that. It's related to an underlying hatred of Jews that permeates the centuries, unfortunately. And there are only two things that I'd say about it. It's been a constant phenomenon of Jewish life over the millennia to have these horrible lies perpetrated about Jews, these vilifications, we poisoned the wells,
They did, though. That's the thing. And you're telling me everybody throughout history is just a bigot liar against the aardvarks. That's what he's saying here, right? Kind of hard to believe. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We drink the blood of children, and all sorts of crazy things.
Oh, but they do. They do dark occultic satanic rituals.
And that's repeated today. That's not new. And every time we had it in history, these vilifications were just preceded and were followed by horrible massacres and pogroms, culminating in the worst pogrom of them all, the Holocaust, in which 6 million...
Oh my gosh, give it up, dude. Yeah, the cycling of the noticing continues. Well, some of these bigots, a lot of people, these Western bigots in Amsterdam, look at all these people showed up to protest for the flotilla over the weekend. Again, no video, no music there, sorry. Get tagged. We probably got like 10 music copyright violations for playing 5 seconds. Anyway, quite a crowd turned out there, all pro-Hamas, according to Bibi. So they're pro-Western created terror groups, essentially. Who knew? Who knew here? So in this little Ben interview, I can't stomach it either, Bindi, honestly, just the smugness and the never-ending lies out of Bibi, the greatest leader in American history. He went on to say in this interview with Little Ben, "I'm committed to making Aardvark land as self-sufficient as possible and phasing out U.S. aid," posted by Information Liberation. And then take a look at, so I'll spare you playing that clip. But then U.S. military aid to Aardvark land. Oh, it seems like, what happened? What happened here? But he's looking to phase this out, you see. Oh, man. What happened here? Oh, genocide. Oh, that's what happened. It has to be funded, of course. So, but hey, don't even worry. Bibi's looking to become self-sufficient there and will no longer be on the hook as American taxpayers for his war crimes, to fund them, at least. Where are we at here? Let's play this. I saw 2 different takes on this. They're saying, well, Palantir says the UK rolling out of digital IDs is risk misuse. It isn't one for us. And so is it too tyrannical for even Palantir or not tyrannical enough? You see, I believe it's probably, originally I thought, well, they've gone too far. Big Brother in the UK has gone too far for even Palantir. And then I saw other commenters say, well, no, they actually haven't gone far enough. And so I got to lean on the side of, I guess, according to Palantir, UK digital ID hasn't gone far enough in our dystopia and technocracy future.
Use a new form of digital ID in the UK are ones that we have been widely linked to online. So many people are talking about Palantir's involvement with that program, and I want to say that we will not be participating in that.
You will not. So tell me why.
Well, it's actually, the answer is on a couple of levels. One is I have actually personal concerns about digital ID. That's both on a technical level. I think there are other ways of addressing the challenge that we have with engaging with government services online. I think there are ways to improve that wouldn't require a wholesale new form of ID. And I think it does open up the risk of misuse as well. But also it's a problem on a corporate level. So Palantir have long had a policy that we will help democratically elected governments to implement the policies they've been elected to deliver. And that does mean that often we are involved in the implementation of very controversial measures. However, digital ID is not one that was tested at the last election. It wasn't in the manifesto.
Yeah.
This guy is head of UK Palantir, is who this guy is.
So we haven't had a clear, resounding public support at the ballot box for its implementation. And as you said, we're seeing a wide divergence of views and a lot of controversy around it. So it isn't one for us.
That is a really interesting and important statement from a company of the importance and size of of Palantir. And I guess, maybe the reasoning behind it maybe summarises Palantir as keeping out of politics, but not everything governments do is in their manifesto. To that extent, governments do what governments do, and they'll answer for it at the following general election and sometimes in between. But you are making a political judgment there on the validity, the democratic validity of this particular programme.
Well, I think I would characterise it as it's a programme that needs to be decided at the ballot box, not in the company boardroom. And we haven't had that clear public mandate, if you like, but this is a programme that the British public want to see implemented.
I mean, I can't remember that. I may be just not recalling it. I can't remember another example of a major corporation which deals very closely with the government taking a decision like that.
Well, I think it sticks very closely to the policy we've always had. We work for democratically elected, Western-aligned governments to deliver the policies they've been elected to deliver. And this is not one that has had that public mandate and support at the ballot box. And it is, as we're seeing, a very controversial one.
Right, Louis, have you told the government this is how you feel, that you will not be taking part, you will not be tendering for any part of the digital ID programme? Was this the first anyone's heard of it?
Well, that's a process that the government will undertake in, I guess, in due course when they pursue the market engagement.
Yeah.
So we won't participate in that market engagement.
Does that also mean that you're turning your back as a company, as a corporation, on what could be a very, very important, lucrative piece of business?
Well, we'll see, potentially. But like I said, this is, we are sticking to what has always been our long-standing policy on this.
Yeah. Okay, look, you know the tech. You'll understand my sudden interest in this subject. I mean, you know your industry better than I do. Is the view you just shared with me and with us, is that widespread in your industry, or are you in some way out there at the frontier?
I can't speak for others. You'd have to ask them yourself, John.
General terms, don't name the company.
I suspect that rather like we're seeing emerge in the public, there will be a wide divergence of views on this one.
Right. And this is, again, I'm asking you, I guess, to speculate. Among the other views privately expressed by ministers about the digital ID programme was at least one senior politician who thought this wasn't going to happen. It would just be too difficult. Do you think it's going to happen?
Well, I think, as I said, one of my concerns about it is the technical feasibility of it, or maybe better expressed, the technical necessity of it. No doubt, we have all had the experience of engaging with parts of government where the online experience leaves something to be desired.
Right.
It needs improvement. However, we are in a world now where there are, I think, at least a dozen unique identifiers for each of us in government. We have passports, we have driving licenses, we have unique tax codes, we have national insurance numbers. Now, each of these sits in a silo and doesn't talk to the other, isn't harmonised. There's no way for government to easily jump from one to another. That could be achieved in the back end with relatively little effort, and I think would go a long way to improving that citizen experience.
Yeah.
I don't see the need for an additional form of identification on top of the many that already exist.
They already got your digital ID with Palantir, and all of that information in the silos, like you said, it's on a Palantir dashboard. So, hey, Technocracy cares about you more than your own government. They're the ethical guys, you see. And then here's everybody's favorite homosexual aardvark, futurist of the World Economic Forum, Yuval Noah Harari. He's warning that global authority is shifting from humans to algorithms.
One of the biggest things happening in the world right now is a shift in authority from humans to algorithms, to AI. Now, increasingly, this decision about you, about your life, is done by an AI. One of the biggest dangers with this new technology is that, a lot of jobs will disappear. So the biggest question in the job market would be whether you are able to retrain yourself to fill the new job, and whether the government is able to create this vast educational system to retrain the population. People will need to retrain themselves, or if they can't do it, then if you can't do it, the danger is you fall down to a new class, not unemployed, but unemployable, the useless class. People who don't have any skills that the new economy needs.
There you go. Don't be a useless eater. And what are they saying here in the chat? Yeah, if you got real ID, you already got real ID. If you got a little star on your driver's license, yeah, you already signed up for it, like a good slave would. Here is video out of the Associated Press, before and after footage showing Gaza heavily damaged with entire neighborhoods flattened by aardvark airstrikes. But those are terror buildings and a bunch of Hamas, so it's all completely justified for the false flag that was October 7th. No audio here, but you could see, yeah, they pretty much leveled the place, but they still got some buildings standing. They still have work to do. As we've reported, they're sending in remote controlled explosive munitions. They're sending in, well, they're just doing hardcore bombing from the air. This place will be leveled one way or another. Front loaders with flamethrowers on them. And so any which way, explosives, fire. I'm surprised they don't just use earthquake weapons. You know what I mean? But this place will be totally leveled for the Trump Riviera, the Greater Aardvark Land Real Estate Redevelopment Project, known as the Fight Against Hamas Terror. Sky News, I don't think we have time for this one. Sky News investigation, surprisingly, coming out of Murdoch's News Corp, exposes Aardvark Land's covert support for, quote, popular forces militia led by ex-looter Yasser Abba Shabab. And so Aardvark Land does love their terror groups, so they're actually propping up another terror group, and soon the popular forces will be the terrorists. They already are, but they need to wipe out Hamas and move on to the next one, so they're propping up this new group, which is a figure now positioned himself in Gaza's future as Gaza's future ruler after Hamas, until he's declared the terrorist of the day. You know what I mean? And so we do look forward to new terrorists coming into power there in Palestine. Here's more from Sky News. Aardvark Land government spokesman David Mincer gets red and has a meltdown when asked point blank whether Aardvark Land will stop bombing Gaza as part of the peace deal. Of course they won't, because there will be no peace deal, and this is all total bullshit.
David Mincer said, will the bombing stop then?
Israel will act completely within the confines of this deal. Israel has always accepted every negotiation process. So when there is a call for there to be a cessation of fire, for there to stop to be...
Well, Donald Trump said exactly that a couple of days ago, didn't he?
So again, you're taking the line of Hamas, Kamali, which you've done consistently. I'll give you that. You are consistent,
That's not fair.
Yes, it is fair. Yes.
This black Sky News reporters of Hamas, you see.
It is fair. Yes, it is fair, Kamali. You have consistently taken the line of Hamas. Israel always.
In what regard have I taken the line of Hamas? I hope that you and I are going to have a constructive conversation today.
Yes, I'm happy to have a constructive.
So don't accuse me of taking the line of a terror group.
Yes, well, that's exactly what you have done consistently. For the last 2 years,
Donald
you have
Trump
taken that
said
line.
Israel should stop the bombing.
This is not our first rodeo. We've had many conversations, and I've heard you repeat back to me Hamas.
Well, there you go. Trump's a Hamas too. I knew it. I knew it the entire time. But the geopolitical theater will continue.
He's been very positive. He's been very positive on the deal. Everybody is. I think every nation is. We have just about every nation working on this deal and trying to get it done. Something that you could say 3,000 years if you look at it in certain ways, or you could say centuries, but this is a deal that incredibly everyone just came together. They all came together. No, Israel's been great. They've all been good, Caleb. He's been very positive.
What is he talking about? Zionists have been around like 150 years or something like this, right? So, yeah, not quite the 3,000. but they love to mix in their Bible with their propaganda. And so what's Hamas's response to all this? Jihad Taha, that's the spokesman for Hamas, they said the unified position of the resistance factions regarding the American proposal reinforced the isolation of the occupation and is based on the interests and issues of our Palestinian people. Almost like a Western intelligence operative wrote this message. Oh, huh? We welcome the Arab and international position supporting the Palestinian right and the positive engagement of the resistance factions to stop the aggression. The Gaza Strip is an integral part of Palestinian land, and its administration must be based on Palestinian national consensus. The aardvark occupation must commit to stopping the aggression. The continuation of its crimes and aggression against the people reveals the falsity of its positions regarding limiting its operations in the Gaza Strip. We affirm the necessity of organizing the Palestinian House and coordinating all efforts to confront the projects and schemes targeting our people, land, and holy sites. There you go, from Hamas spokesman. President Trump is complimenting President Erdogan's efforts there to try to get a peace deal going. Another corrupt leader out of Turkey, president out of Turkey. And then they'll on to the global Samud flotilla, not mentioned in the phone call today, or not publicly anyway, between Trump and Lula. President of Brazil went on to say here, the state of aardvark land violated international laws by intercepting the members of the global Samud flotilla, including Brazilian citizens outside its territorial waters, and it continues to commit violations by keeping them detained in its country. From the very first hour, I gave the order to our Ministry of Foreign Affairs to provide assistance to ensure the integrity of our compatriots and to use all diplomatic and legal tools together with the state of aardvark land so that this absurd situation ends as soon as possible and enables the Brazilian members of the flotilla to return to our country in full safety. Aardvark Land Foreign Ministry calls the global Samud flotilla a publicity stunt and shares an image comparing what it claims is aid brought by the, as compared to aardvark aid there, brought by the flotilla in this nice little infographic. So they gave them all these trucks full of food and supplies, 300 trucks filled with 20 tons of aid reached Gaza, and the flotilla had only 2 tons of aid. And we're at sale for over a week. You see? So forget the fact, you go for aid, for clean water and some food, a piece of bread, and a Band-Aid, and they shoot you in the face. Forget it. Forget that. Forget that. They only had 2 tons, according to Aardvark Foreign Ministry. And so, anyway you look at it, it was a great success. It did garner international attention. Aardvark Land deported 171 participants of the global Samud flotilla today, including the head of it, Swedish activist Greta Thunberg. And here she is in her deportee attire. That one. And I don't know if you guys saw the her autism shirt. It was pretty based if it was real. I saw images of that. Let me just search that up for you real quick and see if I can find it. If this is a real image. Let me just search that up for you real quick. I should have saved it, but yeah. Is this real? It's reportedly real. I don't know. Greta Thunberg donned a kaffifa with an autism t-shirt that included an image of a skeleton dual-wielding automatic rifles before she left on her flotilla aid mission. And then now let's hear Greta spoke for the first time after her release from an aardvark prison.
Leaders, so-called leaders who are supposed to represent me, who continue to fuel a genocide, death and destruction, they do not represent me. And this is a last resort. That this mission has to exist, it's a shame. It is a shame. And I could talk for a very, very long time about our mistreatment and abuses in our imprisonment, trust me, but that is not the story. What happened here was that Israel, while continuing to worsen and escalate their genocide and mass destruction with genocidal intent, attempting to erase an entire population, an entire nation in front of our very eyes, they once again violated international law by preventing humanitarian aid from getting into Gaza, while people are being starved. And we want to also emphasize that we do not only need humanitarian aid to enter Gaza, we need an end to the siege, we need an end to the occupation and the oppression. This action was challenging our extremely violent business as usual that is preventing these war crimes from happening. And that is what this story is about. We cannot take our eyes away from Gaza, from all the places of the world that are suffering, living on the forefront of this business as usual systems, Congo, Sudan, Afghanistan, Gaza, and many, many more. What we are doing is the bare minimum. This genocide and other genocides are being enabled and fueled by our own governments, our institutions, our media and companies. It is our responsibility to end that complicity. And I also... No, not heroes. No, we are doing the bare minimum. What we are doing is not in any way, no one has to come to the rescue of Palestinian people. What we are doing is hearing and acting upon their calls for people all over the world to take action and end our complicity, to use our privileges, our platforms to take a stance against this that is in every way unjustifiable.
Surprised they didn't whack her, honestly, but they probably thought that was too big of a risk. I don't know. But surprised they didn't just whack them. There's too many eyes on them, though. President Trump again suggests that Greta Thunberg sees a specialist for anger management.
That were traveling to Gaza. Today, Greta Thunberg, for instance, also some...
Well, she's just a troublemaker, you know. I mean, she's no longer into the environment now. She's into this. She's a troublemaker. She has an anger management problem. I think she should see a doctor. She needs anger. If you ever watch her, she's a young person. She's so angry. She's so crazy. Now you can have her.
Really? I think she's right on point on the whole Gaza genocide issue. There, she is right on point. Here's Bibby with Little Ben. He says Aardvark land intelligence is the equivalent of 5 CIAs. as if they're not all one and the same.
Did you hear what General Keating said? Familiar with this, Stan?
I'm not.
No? Well, he said, the fact that Israel gave us the intelligence saved so many lives that I'd need, he said, 5 CIAs to give us what Israel gave us. That valuable intelligence. He was head of U.S. Air Force intelligence. It's true. We share everything we know, and we've saved a lot of lives. They try to shoot down planes with Americans in them. ISIS, we gave intelligence to prevent that. And so many other countless instances. So offensive weapons, defensive weapons, intel, and there's much more to come because we're developing very rapidly our arms and defensive industry and our intelligence services. And what we have, you have.
Well, see, all that, there you go. Support evil, and you can have all of their intelligence that you paid for, America. So isn't that wonderful? What a deal. This guy's like a great humanitarian for America. And again, with the same BS, he's been claiming this 30 years, 25, 30 years. Bibi claims Iran is developing intercontinental ballistic missiles with a range of 8,000 kilometers that can reach New York, Washington, Boston, Miami, and Mar-a-Lago. Sure, buddy. You've been saying that for 30 freaking years. That's what he claimed in this little Ben interview. And we won't play that clip because I'm trying not to throw up over here as we wrap up this broadcast. Top Vatican Cardinal says Aardvark land carrying out massacre in Gaza. Yeah, where you been, bud? It's kind of a report out of Reuters. The Vatican's top diplomat sharply criticized Aardvark land's ongoing massacre in Gaza in comments published today. One of the Catholic Church's strongest condemnations of Aardvark land's war against the militant group Hamas. Reuters reports here now. Cardinal Pietro Parolin also called those attacks on October 7th inhumane and indefensible. It's so stupid you have to preface it because you say, well, I'm against the genocide over there. Well, so you're pro-Hamas October 7th? It's like, no, stupid. I'm against all this senseless violence. And we know that you, said government, are pure evil. You're way more evil than any freaking militant terrorist group could ever dream of being. And by the way, you're the ones that are creating all these radical terrorist groups to top it all off. So there's that. You know what I mean? Oh, but God forbid, you know what I mean? So you're pro October 7th? You know what I mean? It's just, it's mindless propaganda. This, of course, no one is for October 7th attacks. Maybe some of the Palestinians are. I mean, if you've been oppressed the way they have, living in an apartheid state, you know what I'm saying? One man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. Just saying, but I am not for any of these attacks whatsoever. Stop killing each other, damn it. We got AI to do that for us now, right? Right. Okay. Pull out of the Aardvark Times. The 45% of Aardvarks think Prime Minister should immediately resign over October 7th. I don't know why. They stood down. They had forewarning. They essentially engineered the whole thing. I don't know why. So this is antiseptic behavior being reported by Aardvarks. Aardvark on Aardvark hate. And so there you go. I don't know what to do about this except for more sanctions, I guess. 66% of Aardvarks say the time has come to end the war in Gaza, compared to 27% who think or are certain that the time has not yet come, and 6% are unsure. An Aardvark Democracy Institute poll shows. Oh man, yeah. So obviously, The numbers probably need to get a little bit lower, and then they'll go ahead and bomb Iran again. Don't you worry about it. Because as we just showed, they're like 2 weeks away from an intercontinental ballistic missile. You see, that can shoot 8,000 kilometers across half the world. It's just so childish and stupid, the level of propaganda. It's cartoon level here in clown world that we're at. But as we reported earlier in this broadcast, there's a giant propaganda campaign to convince people of these lies, you see. And then finally, I think that's the last report. We have little Marco. Where does he say? There's a plan. It's being executed. It has the money. It has the support. It has the expertise, and it's moving forward. Everyone has agreed to the parameters of it in regards to the Gaza ceasefire deal there. Can't even stomach. And I see a bunch of conservatives now. Oh, little Marco, he was a neocon, but now he's one of us, MAGA. It's like, dude, he was vetted from the beginning of his political career by Larry Ellison to be a pro-aardvark Zionist shill hack. And that's why he is in the position he is in now. Secretary of State, you see. Oh, man. I had this article. We will cover this article in the very near future, but in the interest of time, as we're past the 2-hour mark, just let me show you guys this, because some Christians are waking up. Christian Zionism is destroying gospel witness in the Middle East. You don't say. You don't say. And we'll go back over we'll circle back to this article later this week, but I think it does a good breakdown of these misled, to be nice, Christian Zionists, to say the least. You're not getting raptured, and praying for the end of the world is not, it's not good, man. You're going to have to face your own judgment someday. So there's that. If you're a true believer, are these people even true believers? I don't know. I have my doubts. They can just turn a blind eye and in many cases sign off on ethnic cleansing, genocide, war crimes. No problem. You know what I mean? So I don't think Jesus would be signing off on any of this. You know what I mean? Anyhow, thank you for joining us on this Monday edition of Weaponized News. Let's go ahead and go to the channels here now. We'll go to and again, 65% of Americans love the government. We're in bad shape. We're in bad shape, man. But we learned all this during the medical intervention. How many went along with the hardcore medical tyranny? You know what I mean? I would say that was like 95%. I don't know. It was high in my area. I am in California, but the number of mask wearers was just literally everyone, except for me. You know what I mean? So anyhow, 65% disapprove of the Democrat shutdown. Fools. Fools. Okay, over to the Odysee here now. Oh no, it's Gillespie. Gillespie, thank you for joining us. Gurr, thank you for joining us. Highland, thank you for joining us. John, the draft dodger dance of Trump. Indeed, John, indeed. I was going to say something about that when he was honoring the Navy. I was like, he never served, but he'll surely send our armed forces off to go and fight and die in his illegal foreign wars of aggression. I just heard a guy complaining because he had Palantir focus and had 2 surgeries, or plantar fasciitis, excuse me, and 2 surgeries for it, and that are crippling him today. Maybe not good to follow a trend. They want to cut you and medicate you, man. And again, this Rockefeller medicine system that allegedly the Democrats want illegal aliens to have free access to, they're good at emergency treatment, and that's about it. And if they don't seriously damage you during your trying to save your life due to gunshots, car accidents, other type of traumatic events, outside of those life-saving procedures, the rest of it is garbage, man. Pure and utter garbage. But they want to cut you and medicate you to keep you in as a chronically ill patient is the business model here now that we all know. It ain't about finding the cure, that's for damn sure. Whose government is puppeteering Trump? Good question. I would argue that's from John on the Odysee. I would argue it's whatever you want to call them, the global cabal, international banking cartel. I would say that's the government sitting at the top of this whole thing, is who is puppeteering Trump. He's definitely not the king of aardvark land, because he told them stop bombing. They kept on bombing. Maybe that's just all for public perception. But he publicly told them, and they literally laughed at him. So he doesn't look that good. You know what I mean? Trump is losing his shit. I noticed that the title Ambler Road Project is misspelled in the first bullet point. No editing. Is that AI? I don't know. That was put out right from the White House, as you can see. Maybe it's due. Well, we'll blame it on the government shutdown. The editors are laid off, furloughed this week. You know what I mean? Probably it's just AI slop is exactly what it is here now. No masks for me. Well, guess you can't. I guess you're not joining ICE anytime soon there, John. Thank you for tuning into this broadcast. We appreciate a secret cartel list. What about Epstein files? I think a lot of Trump's actions are intended to distract away from Epstein connection. Indeed, I agree. I agree there with you, John. And his involvement in this whole global blackmail trafficking network. Thank you for tuning in on Odysee. Thank you for keeping that chat lively and going as well. Thank you, Odysee, for tuning in. The old Rumble, we had a lively chat over there. Who all did we have? We had Duel, we had Gunther, we had Karen, we had a couple others. I did see Denver pop in and out. He threw down some links there. He probably couldn't stomach much of Bibby either. Thank you guys for keeping that chat lively on the Rumble. Appreciate it very much. The old YouTube, I see Dick Moves chimed in. He says, I hear Barry has a heart of a cop and a brain of a tadpole. Well, whoever lined up that deal, she sold the pre-press for a hell of a lot of money. Only certain American Christian fools are falling victims for such propaganda, Bindi said. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them, sadly. And I do believe, well, is their heart even in the right place? At this point, no. And before I was aware of any of this, I went to Christian Zionist churches, and it all went over my head, I'll admit. But you can't pay me to go to one of their fake churches nowadays. Satan, yeah. And then Mac over there on the YouTube. Robo Zionist will guide you. Behold the promised quack. Indeed. Thank you, Mac, for your comments, and Bindi and Dick Moves and others and Ruckus, of course. The eternal crime, Mac said on the YouTube. Yes, indeed there. Well, quite a few comments. Thank you guys for tuning in and keeping the chat lively. All very good comments. It's the Illuminati, Ruckus says. Yeah, what do we call them? International Banking Cartel. I think that's like the official academic or the Anglo-American establishment. That's like academic explanation about who the quote Illuminati are. You know what I mean? Even though it's much deeper than that even. But yeah, we could just simply call them the Illuminati. But the again, the academic definition or wording for it is the Anglo-American establishment, i.e. Carol Quigley's Tragedy and Hope. And then the older generation used to just simply call it the International Banking Cartel, which I think is an appropriate description of the Illuminati. So yeah. Thank you guys for tuning in on the Rumble, the Kick, the YouTube, the Facebook, and the Twitch, and the X. And with that, we're going to sign off on this Monday edition of Weaponized News. As always, everybody do your own research, peace, love, and freedom. Speak out and take action. Have a great rest of your Monday evening. And it is October, not April. And so we'll see you back here tomorrow for more Weaponized News.